monitor. Some years ago, a friend of mine read an article to me, and she referred me to other articles that she had written. After I read them, I said to her, "Where are the footnotes? Where do I go for more information after I've read your articles?" And she said, "What footnotes?" And I said, "Well, you have to, if you write something and someone reads it, perhaps they want more information, so you connect what you've written to your source." That's one reason why you do it. Because you could make up anything and write it down and give it to people as the truth. Well, we can't do that. And so I like to research. One of the books that I have held as kind of my Bible is a book called Black Song by Professor John Lavelle Jr. He was professor in Washington. And it has in it the story of our song, what we brought here from the motherland, and then what we made here in America, what we made in the Caribbean, what we made in South America. And we have made so many different forms, to name just a few. Of course, when the first new form of music created in America was something that we call Negro spirituals. We took our traditions from the motherland of lament, of happy songs, of narratives, of tales, of tunes, of sung and spoken law. We brought all of that over here, proverbs and lullabies. We brought it here. But in an enslaved situation, we could not sing it and put it in its cultural and ritual text the way we had at home. It was stripped of all its form, its context. And so we created new things, and we created music which has set the world on fire, which has kept the world alive. Indeed, there were times when it was the jazz age, and it was the blues age. The spiritual had its time. And then it was bebop, and it was then it came to something called hip hop. In the tradition of our people, another great invention created by our young people. That's what we're going to discuss today a little bit, just a little bit today. We have a marvelous guest with us, a sister who is on radio and who has her own sense of hip hop and its background and where it should be and what we bring to it. So, you know that you've arrived at Ancestor House by now, and I'm not going to ask you to go and pick up this whole book. I hope you do, but when we go inside, we will talk to our guests. You don't have to bring anything, no cheese and wine. Just bring your great African self. Come on, I'll see you inside.
We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. Not to know the family story is bad. Not to want to know it is worse. For to pass on ignorance to someone is it's like passing on a curse. And it will curse your father, curse your mother, curse your sister, curse your brother. And every time you come close to one another, it will be there in between to separate and instigate. We must learn and tell our story. We must learn and tell our story.
Oh, yes. We must learn and tell our story for ourselves. And here on Ancestor House, that's what we do. That's our job here. It ain't easy, it ain't always pleasing. Sometimes it's scary now, but it's absolutely necessary. So on Ancestor House, we tell our story. But first, we open the way with a short libation First, we thank the Mighty One. We thank the one that made us all, gave us our first dignity as the parents of humanity. And we say, Tra, Omaniaba, Tra, Tra, Omaniaba, Tra, 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 Omaniaba. We ask our ancestors to be here with us, to inspire us, to enlighten our minds, to loosen our tongue so that we can speak the story of our great people. And we thank the great Creator for giving us life, for sustaining our lives. And we thank our ancestors, those bad ones, those tenacious ones, those who loved us more than they loved themselves, those who brought us this far. Understand? We thank them. And we have to acknowledge that there are those who do not want to see us come back to where we belong as the mothers and fathers of humankind, and they work endlessly against us doing so, and we say, let their plotting and planning go right on back to them and not come to us. Let it go back to them and not come to us, because we are the mothers and fathers of humankind, and we're going to tell our story. And we're going to do it in such a way that it will inspire. That's what we do. We bring good into the world. And today we're going to tell part of that story by talking to our guest, Mr. Ife, Lord have mercy. I had two brothers here earlier, and I'm still with them. Sister Ife Dancy. I thank you. If I said it right, sister, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Say it for me. Ife
Dancy.
Dancy. Okay, nice to see you. I think I met you once before. But
Oh, we worked together before.
Did we really? Oh, my.
When you filled in for Milton Gary
Oh,
Bird.
yes.
Yes.
Yes, but I was in the box at that time. Sister, I heard your program. You work on WBAI. You're an engineer and you have your own show. Yes. And one night I woke up and I'd left the radio on and I heard hip hop. But it wasn't the hip hop I've grown used to. It had other qualities to it. And then that one, and something else, another song came on. I said, whoa, wait a minute. These are two songs of the same kind of quality. They were inspirational. They were loving. And so I listened. It was, what time did you go? 5 or 6 in the morning? I'm up listening to you. You have something called Hip Hop Takeover.
Yes.
Every year.
Yes.
At BAI. How did that come about?
It came about, actually, WBAI, which is on 99.5 right here in New York. I wanted to bring more youth to the station.
Yes.
And I was trying to figure out ways to go about doing it. And I said, well, let's try hip hop. And
Naturally.
and it started off as a 24-hour marathon back in 2004, June of 2004. And we just had it again this past June.
That's right.
And each year, just people from all over.
And you had some of the masters on there.
Yeah, this particular year we did it was a dedication to hip hop's pioneers, legends, and icons.
Yeah.
And I called them up, sent out emails, and it wasn't easy because sometimes you have to now really dig deep into the history and your research.
That's right.
And trying to find not only the men, because a lot of times they talk a lot about the men, who pioneered. The Africa Bambatas. And Africa Bambaataa actually did a show this year. Africa Bambaataa, Cool Herc.
You're going to have to explain who these people are, but we're going to see them a little later on.
Yeah.
Because Sister has presented us with some videos. So we're going to see them, but explain who some of them are and what they did.
Well, Bambaataa, Africa Bambaataa, or Bam, he was one of the DJs. All started off with the DJs, the pioneers. But the godfather, the father of hip hop, of course, is DJ Cool Herc.
I see. He's the father.
Yeah, he started with the DJing.
DJing is what? Because there are different parts of hip hop. DJ is a part of hip hop.
Yes, the turntable. The turntable.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the DJ.
Yeah, and Cool Herc. You had Africa Bambaataa. You had Grandmaster Flash. You had all these people, these men, but you also had women out there. And it was really. I had to really dig deep to find these women.
Because we don't hear about them way back then.
But they were there.
Wow.
They were right there. You had The Mercedes Ladies, an all-female hip-hop group. They had DJs, they had MCs, and they were all about just, we can do this as well, you know. And you're talking about 70s.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah. The Mercedes Ladies.
The Mercedes Ladies. They were a part of the Hip Hop Takeover as well. Just two of them, Sherry Cher and R.D. Smiley, the Mercedes Ladies.
You told me before Angie Stone was part of the hip hop group.
Yes, Angie Stone. Yes, serious? Angie Stone was a part of a hip hop group called The Sequence.
Wow.
The Sequence, and they were on Sugar Hill Records. Yes, which was started by a female with her husband Sylvia Robinson
In New Jersey.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
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 And The Sequence, they came out like 78, 79, and their first hit was called Funk You Up, Funk.
I got
Yes,
you.
Funk You Up. And Angie, it was Angie Stone, a.k.a. Angie B at the time.
Okay.
Angie Stone,
Okay.
you had
We're
Goldie.
going to see a little bit
Yes,
of that later
yes,
on, by
yes.
the way.
And a lot of people don't realize that she's a part of hip-hop history.
No, I never thought
Yes,
so.
yes. First all-female group signed. Yes.
And my sister in New Jersey.
Yes,
named
Sylvia Robinson.
Was that the first? She didn't make the first CD or album. I don't know what they were still making. They were making long play at that time, or what?
They had women up here because Angie Stone and the other ladies in her group, they were all from North Carolina, the Carolina. Down there. But you had women up here. Like I said, the Mercedes Ladies, you had Shot Rock from the Funky 4+1.
Wow.
You had Pebbly Pooh, you know, so you had these people right here, these women right here in Harlem. I mean, in New York.
And you've brought some of those tapes for us to see.
Well, so it was hard to get some tapes, but we do have sound. You know, but you do have a tape from The Sequence. Them performing, so you get to see a younger Angie Stone.
Wow, I wonder if Nat could punch up The Sequence.
There it goes.
I think, is that it?
That's it.
Okay, we need some sound on it. Go ahead, sister.
There goes Angie Stone
That's
right
Angie
there.
Stone. Is there sound on it?
They're trying to bring it
Wow,
down.
yeah.
And that particular song that they're performing is called Simon Says.
Your hands and let me see you jam. You see we went back home to write a rhyme strong enough to shake your behind. We dumped so a doggone hard they had to call the National Guard. You don't stop, you don't stop that body rock. We're not like Jack or stupid chill. Before we get pumped, we'll take the pill. The fellas wanna make love every day, but when you get pumped, they run away. You know it's something that you did, but he said, "Hood's not my kid." You sit right there and you start crying. And to your mom, you la la la. But before you know it, the kid is born. The man you love, check it out, he's gone. You sit there and you have to smile. You're wondering how you gonna be a child. Well, remember you're young, gifted and black, and that your kid can never be the whack. You don't stop, you don't stop that body rock. Just throw your hands in the air and shake your booty. Throw your hands in the air and shake your booty. Throw your hands in the air and shake your booty. Throw your hands in the air and shake your booty. Simon says. We want you to hold it. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. That body rock with the Francis song singing yabba dabba doo. Can you hear me rapping back?
Where was I when all of this was happening? Because I don't recall either seeing them.
You had Goldie, Cheryl Pearl, and of course Angie B, aka Angie
B.
Stone.
They're bad. They're good. They're good. And they were street. When I say street, without being crude. They were still talking about what's going on with the baby and the father's daughter and all that stuff. Telling what is happening in lives, in their lives. I think that was good. How did I? When I talked about hip hop before, it was for a while I was working for Jazzmobile, working in the schools, and found out that they had rooms full of musical instruments, but nobody teaching music. So there you had whole generations, of young children without musical instruction. there used to be a time when they had band, all the schools had band and all of that going. You know what I'm talking
Yes.
about, right? Then it was gone. So what did our young people do? They created a whole new form called hip hop. It's the genius of our young people that did this. They didn't have all them instruments, so what did they do? It went with the beat.
Exactly. Well, I mean, not only just that, it was also just what was going on in the streets.
Yeah.
You know, the drugs, even some lack of jobs. There's just so much going on, and the gangs. So a lot of the gangs, like Africa Bambaataa and Kool Herc, they came out of gangs. You know, but they were able to form it and did something positive out of it.
I see.
And what came out of it, of course, is hip hop. You know, and so it wasn't just about what was lacking in schools. It was a lack of a whole lot of things that was going on in their lives.
Yeah, a lot of negativity was going on, but we have always used music to help us deal with that. So, and there was always a possibility, availability of instruments, but there was not then. And but they went anyhow to something creative. Did Bambaataa ever? What you call him, Bam? He did, what did he say about that time, that period when he and his friends began to? Did they know what they were doing? That they were forming something new, or what was it?
You know what? Honestly, I can't speak for them, and I wasn't even around at the time.
Oh,
but I
no,
will say
when he came to the studio, didn't he?
Actually, when he came down for the Hip Hop Takeover, he did a segment called "Rap Before the Word Hip Hop." Or I think I have it right.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of music that preceded hip hop.
Yes.
So he did everything from bebop to scatting.
Good for him.
That's what he did. So
I see.
he really didn't play much hip hop.
He laid a foundation of history of
exactly.
That was very bright.
And that's what he did. So that's what his segment was about. It wasn't even an interview. It was his show.
It was his show.
It was his show. He did all music.
Where did it come about that, and I've been told many times and heard it said that by some rappers who say that it's us, this is ours, it has nothing to do with what went on before, this is our creation. They don't think of themselves as part of a legacy, you know, of that genius that has come down. It's very self-centered and not family, not group, not people. Have you ever heard that? I mean, I've heard it many times, but I don't know.
Personally, I haven't heard it within the people that I work with. Yes, I mean, I can't say that I haven't heard it, which is one of the reasons why I created the Hip Hop Takeover, because it was all about family. It's all about legacy. It's all about, and one of the reasons why I actually started in June, you know, Black Music Month. So, you know, teaching us about our Black music and our legacy and where it can go. And so I don't, and it's because of those people coming on to do the Hip Hop Takeover and knowing that's what it's about. You know, that's why we're able to talk about the pioneers.
It's an opening of the way
exactly.
to bring in so
and then
much.
also bringing in some of the people, our future legends, you know, and putting, that's something.
Who do you think they are? Who are the future legends?
Oh, well, nowadays.
Should we get to that now? Let's
Nowadays, it seems like everybody's is a hip-hop star. I mean, you have people out here that I like, that I think they really haven't tapped into, you know. You have okay. Let's talk about our top 10 folks. You have like your commercially successful rappers such as your Drakes, your Lil Waynes, and Nicki Minaj, who's out right now. You know, at this point in time, I think most of the hip hop.
She's considered hip hop.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of these hip hop artists nowadays, they've crossed over. You know, hip hop has crossed over tremendously. It's not the hip hop that it was.
No, it isn't.
20, 30 years ago.
No, which is natural, but the direction it took is what I question.
Yeah.
I was looking at Nicki Minaj the other day. The sister who works with me has a daughter, and we were talking about Rihanna. And she said, they ain't listening to Rihanna, they're listening to Nicki Minaj. And I said, really? And she was angry because she said, my daughter is saying some lyrics that she got from Nicki Minaj. I think that's how she says her name. And I told her she can't be saying that in this house. So, you know, I'm questioning, where is it going to go? Or why has it taken, I think I know, but why has it taken that direction? And what happened to our families? Because we used to sort of censor our children. We don't seem to be doing that anymore. Or do you think it's good? Or
Oh no, I mean now because everyone is so hooked on their laptops or their Blackberries, their iPods, and that's the parents including, you know, and the kids.
Absolutely.
So they're not really focused on what their kids are doing. They're just saying, you know, go
do something.
Do something, basically. When you have Nicki Minaj, what I think is going on, of course, you know, the commercial radio as well as the record companies, they've monopolized.
They promote that.
Yeah, but they've taken over everything, you know, so you have a lot of these commercial radio stations. I work for radio, but but I understand how it works, you know, and you can...
And your station is not commercial.
It's not commercial, it's public, is public.
Sponsored.
But you can go from New York to Miami and hear the same things, you know, whereas if you was to drive, you know, down to 95 back in the day, you would hear the difference in the music.
That's right.
You know, so it's
a control thing.
It's a control thing. And that's one of the problems with just hip hop in general. Like a lot of people say negative, positive hip hop. I never really say that because there's good and bad in everything. It's just a problem that they just put one thing out. You know, so you have a lot of artists.
So the impact is strong in that direction.
Exactly. So and too often a lot of the artists like your Jean Grey's, who's I mean, this sister is fabulous. You know, conscious, progressive.
I have not heard of the sister.
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey.
That's her name.
Okay.
And you don't hear her on commercial radio, but she's just as good as Nicki Minaj. You know. There's a lot of brothers out there. There's, you know, you have your underground scene as well.
Yeah.
But it's just helping, especially with what I do, the Hip Hop Takeover, helping these people get their music out, giving them a voice, and letting other people who aren't used to hearing them get an opportunity. There's something else. Especially with some of the kids. I invite kids to come up to the station. Come on up to the station, meet these people. You know, meet some of the pioneers, meet the icons. You know, that help these people. The Nickys, the Lil Waynes, the Drakes, how did they end up where they're at? You know, they're standing on their shoulders.
Okay, where they're at. How do you think they got there? What brought them there? I mean, look at Lil Wayne. People find him appealing. I mean, I can see them looking at even Michael Jackson with his uniqueness. He had something appealing about him. So does Prince, you know, if you want to go that way. What's-McCall Brown, he's, you know, built and everything. But what is it that attracts people to Lil Wayne? I'm just asking.
Well, you know, personally, he's not my, you know, cup of tea, but I'll get into it. I guess it's his flow, you know. You know, they talk about swagger, and he's top. You know, was hot right now.
Why?
You know, that's what the record companies are pushing.
This is what I'm asking.
That's what the record companies are pushing. That's what they want the people to hear. That's what the radio stations are playing 2-3 times per hour. So
2 or 3 times per hour.
And if that's what you're hearing all the time, then of course, that's what you're gonna. That's eventually what you think that's what you're liking.
That's what you're liking. So it's a programming.
Yeah.
They're programming the audience.
Yeah.
To like. Why? Why do you think? I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm asking because our people need to think, why are certain artists on the radio all the time? Why are there pictures in the paper? Why do they get such promotion? And there are others who have really serious talent.
Yeah.
And are easier to look at, let's say. And yet these people are promoted. What is that all about? Anybody ever discussed that? Any of the young people, any of the hip hop people discuss that?
We've just discussed that before. It's just almost like what happened when they say the gangster hip hop took over. You know, you had a lot of the progressive or the conscious hip hop going on, like The Message, you know, with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. That's what was talked about before. And then they say a lot of the gangsta hip hop came around, like when you talk about Ice-T or NWA, and after a while, it was more so uplifting of the community. You know, because not the gangster hip hop. I'm talking about when the Grandmaster Flash and Furious Five.
Yes, they were. Yes,
and
they were.
It was not just because hip hop started to blow up. Because remember, it was a fad. It was supposed to be this
They
fad.
thought it was a
They
fad.
thought it was going to be a fad.
Yeah.
But what happened? You had all these different communities now almost talking to each other through song, you know, so from New York to Cali, now they're talking to each other, you know, through these songs and comparing notes and what can we do, you know, look at how Africa Bambaataa started his Zulu Nation, you know, and that was out of his music. So now you're talking about years, 20 or so years, it's just never kind of gone back, you know, to that, you know, making sure that we have that balance. Even in the 90s we had that. We had a balance. We had a balance of all types of
It was better, but they were coming
hip-hop.
in. When I remember the first time I heard NWA, I was coming down the subway steps of 59th Street. You see how important it was to me, because I remember when I first heard it, and I said, what? The little brothers were sitting on the steps with the boombox, and they were playing this. I went back, and I looked. I didn't want to, you know, because I said, they're going to be mad, they're going to be mean, these are bad little brothers. But I went back and I said, who is that? They didn't answer me at first. And I just asked them again very nicely, and they said, NWA. I said, oh, NWA. Later on, I found out what that meant.
It meant.
Right. But it was so crude, so harsh. And yet, it stayed, and it caught on in the community, and then we began to hear more and more of those words. So it was a matter of the art leading the community at that. Not to say that we didn't hear the N-word in the community, but not with the frequency that we do now. We didn't hear the B word as much. So that was I remember when I first saw the pants hanging down on the bus.
Yeah.
You remember, who was it? One of the great designers, one of the famous designers, put it on the side of the bus. And I said, oh, God, it's over. That's what we're going to see.
You're talking about in the 90s or so?
Yeah, in the 90s.
You had a few designers.
No, it was the 80s, actually.
80s?
It was shortly after they began to wear the pants lower, this prison thing. And they glamorized it. So I'm saying, oh, now it's out. All of this has come. I'm saying all this because hip hop, I loved it when it started. I love our people, love those young brothers. But it has been taken over.
Yes.
Not your kind of takeover, but another kind of negative takeover.
Yeah.
There was a program, I don't know if it was on VHS or VH1, what is it? Or it was a documentary.
Okay.
And it talked about how someone in the hip hop world went to the world of pornography, and hired one of their directors to come and direct some hip-hop videos.
Okay.
Then he brought some of his girls with him. And then that started the change, because then the dances changed and everything changed.
They stopped dancing.
And I'm saying, why? You know, there's a master plan, is what I'm saying, really. And
It was dumbed down tremendously.
Oh, dumbed down and funked up.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So how do we, you're doing it, you're recapturing it,
Yeah.
hip-hop.
Yeah.
is that what's on your mind, or where are you going to go with this?
Well, you know what? Since doing the last one, I didn't realize how much people didn't know about their history, especially with hip hop.
That's right.
And how much the pioneers especially really want to get their story out, because they see how it's changed.
Yes.
They see how, because they were cheated out of money and everything else.
You got to believe it.
They want to get their story out, and that's part of the reason why I decided to do that. I want to do more, you know,
do it.
and make it and document it.
Yes.
You know, it's about documenting our history.
Did you do anything when they were in the studio?
Oh yeah.
You did video?
We have.
You took a, go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead,
I loved
girl.
it. And I know I keep talking about the women, but for me, it didn't even make sense to be the creator or the executive producer of this and not make sure the women were a part of it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Let's see some more of the brothers, and then we'll end up with the women. Nat, I think it was the second and third one on the list. If you could show bits and pieces of that, so Sister can tell us about what's going on and who's doing it. It was, we left off the top, and then we went to the second one on that list that you sent me. And if we can go second, then talk, then go to the third one, then talk, then maybe end up with the sisters at the long one with the sisters at the end. Yeah. Even little Kim is in there, Lord have mercy. Nat, do you think you can do that? I know it takes a little time to pull it up. We have some technical things. You go to YouTube.
Yes. That's on Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, The Message.
Oh, this is at the beginning, almost. We can't hear it.
Broken glass everywhere. People pissing on the stage, you know they just don't
This is
care.
the very
I
beginning.
can't take the smell, can't take the noise. Got no money to move out, I guess I got no choice. Rats in the front room, roaches in the back. Junkies in the alley with the baseball bat. I tried to get away, but I couldn't get far, cause a man with the touch of repossessed my car. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. Standing on the front stoop, hanging out the window, watching all the cars go by, roaring as the breezes blow. Crazy lady living in a bag, eating out of garbage pails. Used to be a fag hag, such a dance to tango. Skipped the life and tango. A zircon princess seemed to lost her senses. Down at the peep show, watching all the creeps, so she could tell her stories to the girls back home. She went to the city and got so sedated. She had to get a pimp, she couldn't make it on her own. Don't push me, cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
DJ. Well, before, at that time, you would hear the DJ's name first before.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
So it was Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
And the
with
Furious
message.
Five. And they were the very beginning of this.
They were part
In
of. They were
videos.
part of the beginning. Yeah, they were part of the beginning of hip hop.
All right.
Yeah.
It's interesting how they use the spoken word, add a little rhythm to it. That's when I first heard it, I was, here I go again, because I watched. I'm walking down the street one day, this is in the 70s, I believe, and I hear somebody rhyming and with a little beat, and I look around, and these brothers, they're at a light, a light, and street light, and they had something hooked up, electricity.
To the light, to the light bulb.
And I'm standing there watching them. I'm saying, wow, this is something new. This is marvelous. But that's what I'm talking about, the genius. They had it inside. They had to find a way of doing it, and they did it. And he was just telling, wow, okay, so now they're going into break.
With the break dancing.
Yeah. Yeah, where's the sound on that?
This is African Bambadas.
This is African Bambadas group, his place?
Yeah, and Soul Son, of course.
They look so innocent. But they moving. Oh my goodness. That's Africa.
Yeah, that's Africa Bambaataa.
soul sonic force. The big power. And MC Glow, we emphasize do so. We got ego. Make this your night. In my name, as the people
This is in the 70s?
70s, early 80s. See, they came from out of that disco, kind of, you know. So they took a lot of those that looked from that. DJ Butterworth.
Look at that, the creation of an industry, really, that took the world. And this was in the Bronx?
I'm not sure where that was. I can't tell.
Oh, wow. When you're young, you're not scared of nothing.
Especially spin on your head. I can never do that.
It looks like in front of Lincoln Center. It's extraordinary to see it, to see the creativity, the outreach and the culture and other cultures, and to think that they put that together themselves.
And it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. They didn't have any high-priced directors come in, light people come in. They did that.
Just didn't.
That's fantastic. Now, then it got messed up. They started shooting each other. What was that all about? How did that come about? You tell me. You're on the inside.
How did shooting each other? Oh, I'm not inside of that.
You're not inside. No. Oh my goodness. Where do you think it's going to go? Where do you think hip hop's going? Because it evolves and it mutates kind of and it evolves again.
You know what? I think about that, and I've thought about it, and I've thought about it, and I've thought about it. I look at it now, we said this a little earlier, that it's not really just one thing. It's crossed over big time. And sometimes I can't even tell what's hip hop anymore or not.
I know.
And I'm hoping that within the next 5-10 years, that eventually people want to go back, you know, and revisit where it started.
Foundation.
Yeah, you know.
And then create something new.
And then create something new. You know, but right now, where it's almost kind of dissolving a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, because of how it's crossing over.
Crossing over, and it's going to be up to the young people to do it. I am disgusted with the adults, to tell you the truth, those who are managers and directors. I looked at who was on television the other night, and they come on, they don't know how to come on the stage. Okay. When they're on the stage, they're doing too many things. If anybody went, like Tupac knew better. Tupac knew how to use a stage. Tupac had studied drama, he'd studied theater, so that he knew how to use those elements. But most of the people just parading back and forth.
Well, that's because a lot of the record companies aren't really
building them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you know, they're not.
Them.
They just throw them out there.
Yeah.
Without.
But they're playing a dirty trick on these young people who don't know what theater is like, how more powerful they could be if they focused, if they, as the old folks said, plant it right there. People will come to you. You don't go out and have it as part of the process, everybody standing up. No, the other day, well, I don't want to be going back to the Who is this?
That's Curtis Blow.
Oh, let's listen to this. If we can hear it out here, it would be good. Yeah. He came quite a bit later than him.
Oh,
No?
well, this is
This is a more recent.
yeah, this has to be recent.
Yeah.
Because he was much younger. when he
Younger,
did it.
right.
Here we go. If your woman steps out with another man, we go, that's the praise. She runs on with him to Japan. Say it. The IRS says they born to chat. And you can't explain why you claim the cat. My bill sent you a whopping bill. Well, 18 phone calls to
Whose
Brazil.
idea was it to have that second man on
You
the
borrow
stage?
money from the
Because
The
they
dancer
started that. Yeah,
or the
there's
hype?
one.
Because
There's one man who's doing a lot of stuff in the background.
Well, you know, those are just, you had the, at that time you had the B-boys, you had the B-girls,
Right.
you know, the break dancers.
Yeah.
But you also had your hype man, too. He's
what
just
man?
Hype man. You know, the person that's...
Hype.
Yeah, hyping up the crowd.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, that goes way back. But he usually didn't come on when the person was saying this, doing his thing.
Yeah, everybody out there, just throw your hands up to the sky. Wave around from side to side. If you deserve a little break tonight, somebody say, all right. All right. Say, ho. You don't stop, but keep on. Somebody scream. Break down. You don't stop, but keep on, y'all. Just clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Clap, clap, clap your hands. Clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Brakes on the train, brakes on the plane. Brakes make you go insane. Brakes in love, brakes in war. We got the brakes to get you on the floor. And these are the brakes. Bring it up, bring it up, bring it up, break down. Give a nice round of applause for my son, Mikey.
It's his son.
Yeah, he looks just like him.
All right.
I hear Gary's son is carrying on up. Gary Bird's son up at WBAI. Yeah, that's good.
No,
That's in the
actually,
family.
I think he's at
Oh, LIB? Yes.
LIB now.
Oh, was he at BAI?
No,
Oh, excuse me. But he's doing it.
Yeah.
He's in the business. Okay, so you said you were thinking that eventually it's going to go into something else. It has to, because it usually takes us about 20 years
Yeah,
for
before-
a whole new invention to come about. And it's been how many years? 70s, 80s, 90s, about 30 years now.
Yeah.
So we have to break loose from whatever is holding us, and so that our young people can come
And I
out
think that's
with
what's
something
happening.
else.
You know, you have your, especially nowadays when you have the internet that's so popular, people can be instant
Can do
artists.
them, yes.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
person can be an instant artist nowadays. So you have those artists that aren't able to get on radio, who are now producing and putting out their own stuff. You
On
know,
the internet.
On the internet, making their
Yes.
own money.
Yeah.
And
Making
then you
their
have-
money?
Yeah, well, some of them are making money too.
Serious?
Yeah, and then you have stations like WBAI and other independent stations who are pushing these artists as well. You know, so it's just it's all about evolving with the times as well.
How do you think, because right now you hear Jill Scott, you married Jay, a sister who from Jersey who won all those, what's her name, Lauren Hill.
Okay.
Hill, I can say, is definitely hip hop. Where do the others fit? Because we've lost the defining styles. It's sort of meshed into one.
The ones you just mentioned, where do they fit?
Yeah, they're saying that Jill Scott is hip hop. She's not hip hop, as far as I can see. But
She's not hip hop, but she does spoken words. I don't know if they if that's what they're adding it in.
yeah,
but she
maybe.
definitely does spoken word. Lauryn Hill, of course. Well, Mary J. Blige, she, you know, came up around that time anyway, you know, in the 90s when they were doing hip hop.
But she sings.
Well, she sings,
Yeah.
but she was still kind of like that
The energy.
Yeah, her energy
Yeah.
back in the 90s was,
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
And then she
rock.
was also like paired with Diddy back in the day, you know.
That's
So,
right.
You know, so
That's
Diddy
right.
is
So
very
she was
hip-hop.
in that world.
She was in that world.
Yeah, yeah. You think Diddy's going to take it someplace, or is he sort of no? So he's making his fortune, and
He's making. Let's just say he's making his fortune.
he's making his fortune, and the other brother, he has made and still making his fortune. Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Yeah, making a lot of money.
Making a whole lot of money.
A lot of money, right? And it's on. That's the other thing that I think is different. For example, when jazz musicians came out, they had their look, they had their style, they had their swagger, they had their world, and they did influence all over the world, just as
Yes.
the blues all over the world.
Yes.
But after the movement, doors were open. So now here we have young people who are going into fashion design, and they have this label and this and all of that. And it's quite great, but they're becoming millionaires very early.
Yeah.
Like 50 Cent.
Well, that's because they learned.
Yeah, they learned.
They learned.
The doors were open, and they were right there, and they got good guidance, which is very good. Because other people went to get rich, and they went to get rich, so they came together and got a lot of money. Jay-Z and I think it was his his wife, Beyonce. I know Jay-Z, who sponsored, were one of the producers
For
of
Fela.
which is, I think, was a great movement.
Along with Will Smith and Jada
Yeah, and Jada Pinkett. That's good. They're doing that. Whoopi Goldberg is producing all over the place. So that is excellent, that
Yeah.
world they're getting into.
Yeah, and that's what they learned. You know, they took what unfortunately happened to a lot of the other pioneers, learned from it, and decided, you know what, I can do my music, but it's not going to last
can do
forever.
this, yeah.
Unfortunately, hip hop is probably one of the only genres that seems like once you hit 30, okay, you're old, let's go.
Well, it's pretty much
Especially with the
that
women,
way.
you know.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
with the women, you can't come
Yeah.
out, you know, got to be like 15. I'm just exaggerating, you know.
No, it's
and-
kind of true. It's kind of true. What has it been for you as an engineer in the radio field, as a woman? How have you managed, or what have you felt?
Well, it's interesting. On air is different. You know, people hear women on air all the time. When I came in as an engineer, a lot of times people were shocked, you know, especially because I came in I started radio at 17, 18. And so it was my age. So I had to deal with a lot of times people not feeling I knew what I was doing. Sometimes I didn't know what I was doing.
You were learning too.
I was still learning. And then once I started working within the field, I guess I can say working in hip hop now. It's weird for me to even say that, but just working within the hip hop community. A lot of times people thought, oh, you were just someone's girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, someone's
Yes.
girlfriend, or you're a singer.
Yeah.
You know, you can't actually have some sort of
Engineering expertise.
engineering or producing role or anything like that. You're just another chick. So I dealt with that. It was really hard for me in the beginning, but after a while, I said, you know, that's their ignorance.
Yeah.
You know, and you deal with that. And then once they see
That you know what you're doing.
that I know what I'm doing, then
Yeah.
then you see their expressions on their face, and I love it.
I know you do. So
love
you've
it.
passed most of that, and you're
Oh, yeah.
probably going to see it again in another setting. But you know how to deal with it.
I know how to deal with
That's
it now, and I say
fantastic.
that to and especially when women come into the station or just talk to me, and I can see how sometimes it can be very discouraging. You know, just radio in general, hip hop in general. You just learn how to, and I was just saying this earlier, you learn how to stick with your family, you know, who are your friends, and they'll help you get through whatever it is.
So you get a little colony together
Exactly.
and you work it.
Exactly.
Very good. Everything you required more than one person
Yeah,
to
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
I'm glad. I know Imhotep Gary Bird speaks so highly of you.
Oh, and he was
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
one of the people,
Yeah.
especially when I would fill in for him on air. He would be right there calling me.
I know.
Just slow down.
I know.
Slow down, Ife.
Yes. No, in the morning, you know, when I first heard you were in the morning time, and then I heard, I think it was some person called you and was saying, what did they say? Something about, you made some statement about how you do, and he was telling you. But he's one of those people who call BAI all the time.
Probably.
Always has
Probably.
something negative to say. And I
Yeah.
heard you deal with it so nicely.
Oh, I don't know.
You
Maybe I was in a good
put him-
mood that day.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. So where are you planning to go with it?
With which
Engineering. Or are you going to branch out into this world of hip hop or music, producing?
Well, you know what? It seems like I'm just following where the Almighty is taking me right now, and that's really being honest. And because of going back to this last Hip Hop Takeover back in June, I didn't realize how much people wanted to know about hip hop, and now I'm finding, okay, well, let's do this.
Yeah.
People are coming. Well, they want to do. Reunions and concerts and
great,
things like
great,
that,
great,
and putting
great,
that
great.
together. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm following what you're saying.
You've opened the door,
You know,
and
so
people are ready to come in.
Yeah.
Because it's music, because it's young, and because now it's old.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some people are trying to pull that back or stay close to it. So there are all kinds of opportunities
Yeah.
there. That's very good. You're going to do it again next year
we're going to, well, actually, we're going to do it again in December.
in December this year.
Yes,
Okay.
December.
People, if they wanted to hear you, they would go to radio station.
99.5 WBAI. Monday through Fridays, I engineer, and I'm also the morning anchor. So you might hear me every
Yeah.
every couple
Yeah.
of minutes per hour in the mornings, just giving you an update of what's coming up.
Working with Wake Up Call
Yeah, working with Wake Up Call
early in the morning.
early in the morning, and then I have my overnight show, which is the one that you was listening to, which is every other Wednesday, 3 a.m. to 5
I
a.m.
see.
Yeah,
Very
and then of course
good.
I work with Imhotep Gary Bird.
Right.
Yeah.
Who is a legend. I hate that statement, but he's been on radio for a long time, just like as Bob Law, which
Yes.
we had in the other show. And he's been so consistently on target. You know, he's one of the good guys.
Yeah.
And it's good to meet them.
Yes.
They're kind of scarce,
Yes.
but he is excellent. So I'm good that you're pairing, you're working together. It's very important
Yeah.
to have somebody in your group. Okay, I think that. Do you ever talk to young girls about their image and
Oh, I've
hip-hop and
I've talked
everything?
about that on air. You know, just the image, especially when you're talking about color. It's not easy, especially if I was a young girl nowadays, watching some of these music videos,
Yeah,
I would really hate myself.
yeah.
You know,
The image which is repeated over and over,
Over
which
and
does not
over.
look like us,
it
most
does
of us at
not
all.
look like us,
My
and it's
God.
not a representation of who I am, who my sister girlfriends
Our
are.
wholeness. Yeah. Oh, wow.
You know, and everything is exaggerated. You know, as far as just the body parts and everything else. You know,
So you've talked to young girls on the radio or off the radio?
on and off.
Good.
Yeah,
Very good.
we've
That's
talked about
absolutely
it. and
necessary.
It is necessary. You know, if you want to, especially uplift, you know, your women, so you can have future.
Sure. We have to have some. I was wondering the other day, what happened to the women's movement? You know, because it's all the things that were talked about then, nobody's talking about it now. Now we're talking about the pole in the bathroom, and the pole. Oh, man, it's weird.
Yeah,
It's weird.
yeah.
But that's life, and I'm glad you're there at BAI.
Thank you. I'm glad you're here.
It is, we have to pull together right now and keep repeating that which is positive. And as you said, people want to know about hip hop even. We all want to know about our
Just
past.
the history, yeah.
Yeah, and that helps to bring people together. If they wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Well, they can always email me, but I gave them my website, which is www.thehiphoptakeover.com. www.thehiphop. You have to put www. We're still working on getting someone.
Serious?
Yes. Yes.
You don't always have to do it, depending on where you're coming from. Well, a lot of times I will put in the address and without the WW, and it gets there.
Well, not mine,
Not your-
unfortunately. Yeah,
not
mine's
your-
just a little ghetto fabulous.
Oh,
but
okay. www.
The hip hop. You have to put
hip-hop.
thehiphoptakeover.com. And
Okay.
it's like a blog site, so we post up all types of things. You know, we post up videos from new upcoming artists, underground
Very
artists,
good.
plus the commercial artists. So we
Yeah,
mix it in,
you mix it.
so everyone can come to the site.
Very good, very good. All right, it's been good to have you, because when I heard, I said, ask that sister to come on, because people need to talk about this. And in depth, now we've just talked about a lot of things, but if we have just 1 minute, I wanted to go to the sisters video. We can't do it, Nat? Can we go out with some of that sisters video? If it's, I don't know if you can get to it in time. But it had Queen Latifah.
Queen
It had
Latifah, MC Light,
Little Quim.
Left Eye,
Yes,
who
it was
passed
so
away.
good to see her.
Yeah.
Wow, she was part of that
TLC.
TLC, which was a lovely group. They were
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
Listen, people, thank you for being here, family. Thank you for what you say to me on the street when I meet you. And please spread the word about Ancestor House. This is where we tell the story of the great African people, and we tell it as well as we can. We're trying to even tell it better, and you can help us do that. I want to thank you, my sister, for
Thank
being
you.
giving me a full hand.
Oh.
Don't be
I was trying to grab you.
Yes, guest here on Ancestor House, and we're going to be listening to you on WBAI and encouraging you on WBAI, and all of those who want to support our family, we must do that. You must also listen to Imhotep Gary Bird. He comes on only on Saturdays
at 5.
for Saturdays at 5?
5 to 7.
For 2 hours, and that's a wealth. That he's a gem, and you need to listen to him. He's been on all these years. He also comes on Sunday on WLIB BLS, and there he's on from 6, I think, until 12. And please listen and get more of our story. I thank you again for being here,
you.
for sharing. The man tells me I have to say goodbye, so I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. We must learn and tell our story, heal the pain and raise the glory. Tell it. Not to know the family story is bad. Not to want to know it is worse.